Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today. And today, the New York Knicks have traded for Mikal Bridges. Wow. What a trade for the New York Knicks. They finally make a big move. I mean, obviously, they've made some really solid moves, like signing Jalen Brunson, which, he's turned into a superstar now. At the time, that wasn't seen as a huge move. It was seen as a great signing at the time. They've made other moves like signed Dante DiVincenzo in free agency last year, trade for Josh Hart at the trade deadline and the 22-23 season. Obviously, they made a really, really, in my opinion, big move in trading for OG Anunoby in December, which was a great addition, even though he had some injury problems. But I feel like this is, out of all moves that this Knicks team has made, this is the biggest one. Obviously, probably if you look back now, Jalen Brunson's signing is the biggest one. But at the time, in the moment, this is the biggest addition. Obviously, Mikal Bridges is probably going to be that second or third best player on the team, adding in next to Brunson and Julius Randle. And, I said the New York Knicks have traded for Mikal Bridges, but I actually made a mistake because I really meant the Villanova Knicks, because all four of the main Villanova squad that won back-to-back championships, back-to-back national championships, are reunited. Jalen Brunson, who was the main star, Mikal Bridges as well, Dante DiVincenzo, and Josh Hart. So it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, it's fun to watch Josh Hart, Dante, and Jalen Brunson play with each other and, do their podcasts. And we've seen Josh Hart and Dante and Jalen Brunson do this podcast together, or whatever they've done together. And I'm wondering if Bridges will join that too. That'd be really interesting. But this is a team that has the Villanova cast around it, and they're going to be great. They're going to be great. Those four guys are going to be great. But this is also a team that still has Julius Randle. And look, with these four Villanova guys and a healthy Julius Randle, and not to mention most likely the re-signing of OG Anunoby, this is going to be a tough Knicks team. Obviously, I think a lot of people are probably thinking about the four Villanova guys being reunited. Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson and how they're going to be together as a duo. But something I'm really thinking about is defensively with OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. Obviously, OG Anunoby's presence is not guaranteed yet. Still have to re-sign him in free agency, but the Knicks are still locked in on re-signing OG Anunoby. Now, anybody wondering, the Knicks can still afford to bring in Isaiah Hartenstein and OG Anunoby in free agency. But I think something they'd have to do in order to do that is most likely have to dump off the contract of Mitchell Robinson. Maybe potentially trade Mitchell Robinson for some draft picks. I know there are some teams that would potentially take him on. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson is someone you don't want to, give away for free, but clear some money, clear some cap space by getting rid of Mitchell Robinson, because he does have a little bit of a heavy contract. And if you do that, if you get rid of Mitchell Robinson, clear some cap space, and maybe it's a little bit easier, for room money-wise to re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein and OG Anunoby. And if you do that, this New York Knicks team is looking pretty. And look, there's not even a definite starting lineup. If you re-sign OG and Isaiah Hartenstein, obviously Jalen Brunson starting at point guard. Obviously Bridges is probably starting at the small forward. Bridges probably would be starting at shooting guard. OG would probably be starting at small forward. Brunson would be at the 4. Not Brunson. Randall would be at the 4, and then Hartenstein would be at the 5. And you know what that means? With that big lineup of having Bridges at the 2 and OG at the 3 and then Randall at the 4 and Hartenstein at the 5, that means Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo are coming off the bench. Now, like I said, it's kind of a bigger lineup with having Bridges at the 2 and OG and Randall and Hartenstein at the 3 for 5. But that's where where the bench kind of gets a little bit tough, because your bench is kind of small, because you'd have Josh Hart, who isn't small, but he is a guard. Dante DiVincenzo, who is, it's not like he's a bad player, but he's small. And then Miles McBride. So those are 3 guards that would be coming off the bench. Obviously, Josh Hart is could play small forward, power forward. I think Tom Thibodeau, if you're able to re-sign both Hartenstein and not just Hartenstein, OG Anunoby, there's going to be a lot of hard decisions to make starting lineups, because I think it's a hard decision to. I don't think it's that tough to put Dante DiVincenzo on the bench. He's done it most of his career. He'll be great scoring off the bench for this Knicks team. I see most likely he'll be coming off the bench. But Josh Hart, that's a hard decision, because you don't want to put OG or Bridges on the bench. Obviously, Brunson's going to be a starter. Randall, obviously, I don't see a way where he's not in the starting lineup, and then obviously Hartenstein's your starting center. So there's really no way to get Josh Hart into that starting lineup unless someone gets injured. So it's gonna be, this Knicks team is gonna be interesting if they are able to re-sign OG and Hartenstein. But let's go over these trade details. So, New York has given up a haul for him, though. And Brooklyn will receive unprotected first-round picks in 2025, 2027, 2029, and 2031, along with an unprotected pick swap with New York in 2028. Brooklyn will also receive a top 4 protected 2025 first-round pick via the Milwaukee Bucks, as well as a 2025 second-rounder. Also, they receive Bogdan Bogdanovic, who the New York Knicks acquired from Detroit this past offseason in a trade with Alec Burks, which was another big trade that the New York Knicks make. And Bojan Bogdanovic, who's heading back to Brooklyn. Really interesting. Bojan Bogdanovic going back to Brooklyn, where I believe he started his career. He started his career in Brooklyn, played his first 2.5 seasons in the league, 2014-15 season. And his last year was the 2016-17 season. With Brooklyn, Bojan played 212 games to start off his career, averaging 11 points per game. Bojan averaged 15 points per game this past season and finished 10 in the top 10 of Sixth Man of the Year voting. He was 9th in voting this past season. This is a very interesting trade. It's going to, the Knicks are going to be very interesting next year if you're able to re-sign OG Anunoby. With the Knicks already kind of being, when healthy, being the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics offense, with looking at them offensively, next year they're going to have a threat, when going up against other defenses. The biggest threat's going to be going up against Mikal Bridges, and not only Mikal Bridges, but OG Anunoby. I mean, that's going to be, defensively, those two guys are going to be amazing. Mikal Bridges can guard anybody in this league. He's guarded 800. I think it was like he's like something like 800 players he's guarded or something like that. And he's a guy that can go out there and guard any All-Star. And OG Anunoby is another really, really good defender. So those two guys together, obviously I think there are going to be other things about this New York Knicks team that are going to be really special. 3-point shooting is, I think, is going to be a big thing with Bridges and Dante DiVincenzo and even Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. And even Miles McBride is a really good 3-point shooter. But defense with Bridges and OG Anunoby is going to be key, and that's going to be a big thing, potentially taking down the reigning champions Boston Celtics. The New York Knicks, I think, are going to be the favorites in the Eastern Conference if they can bring back Isaiah Hartenstein and OG Anunoby. We'll see if they can do that first. Let me know your thoughts, and peace out.